Hi, I'm Emma and welcome to StyleQuotient, and today I'm going to be talking about looking after the skin through the cold wintry months. Yes, it's started to get freezing cold and we need to start to think about the skin because the cold really can affect the skin. And there are many ways that we can look after your face and your hands and the whole body to make sure it's protected from the cold weather. First up, my top tip is to keep hydrated. Now, I'd say this in the summer as well. Of course, we need to keep hydrated when it's super hot outside, but equally in the winter, central heating is whacked up super high and this can really dry out the skin. So we obviously need to counteract that with some water, maybe even some hot tea. Herbal teas are always a good option. But just remember, the skin is going to be dried out even if it is cold outside, so make sure it is hydrated. And on a similar note, moisturize. This really is important. Get a good moisturizer for the skin, face and body and hands, so that any forms of drying out which does happen through the winter can be again counteracted. My next tip is to look after the hands. The hands really do suffer from the cold. They can get this thin skin around the hands. They tend to chafe, dry out, get blisters sometimes. So a top tip there obviously would be to buy some gloves because they will keep your mitts warm throughout the winter. They're not exactly expensive, and you can buy loads of little nice pretty ones, the ones that have the little hat, the ones for the fingers. Just buy yourself a nice pair of gloves because it will keep your hands warm. And at the same time, once you take the gloves off, do remember to moisturize the hands just in case they did dry out under the gloves. Similarly, you want to protect the feet, and you definitely don't want to have wet socks, as again, these can cause blisters and chafing of the feet, particularly if you've had non-waterproof shoes. So advice there would be to buy some wellies and also some thick warm socks. And if you do get wet feet, please do dry out the socks. Don't put on wet socks because it really does not feel good and it can harm the feet. It also might smell a little bit. And in the same way that you wouldn't put on wet socks, don't put on wet gloves because it can have a counter effect. It won't keep your hands warm and it will dry them out. Next up, think about the lips. The lips get really dry in the winter months, so go out and buy a nice lip care with perhaps vitamin E in it. This really will look after the lips. There's loads of them out there. Vaseline's a good one, but there's also cocoa butter ones. There's ones with lip colour and lip gloss, so you can kind of use it as a lipstick if you want. So it gives you that kind of nice looking going out effect, but also protecting the lips at the same time. My next tip would be to think about having a facial. The face is given so much of a hard time throughout the winter, so the facial will get rid of any dead cells, dead skin, and really bring the blood back to the face to make you feel alive, to make the skin feel fresh and vibrant. So treat yourself to a facial. Maybe you can get it as a present over the Christmas period, but it really will help. Or you can have a home kit facial, maybe spend a night with the girls and do a facial. But whatever it is you decide to do, just look after the skin, look after the face in particular. You don't want to come up with spots, you don't want to have dry, dull looking skin. So moisturise, have a facial and protect the hands and lips, and they are some of my tips to looking after the body in the winter. There are loads more, and if you've got any you'd like to fill me on, please do subscribe below and get in touch because I really definitely need some tips because I get freezing cold in the winter, I neglect my body, and I really should look after it. So do get in touch and I look forward to hearing from you.